Okay, so good morning. So this is about 4 days after the build now. Obviously I've had to stay away for a little while I recover. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at setting up some of the piping in preparation for when the fiberglasser comes, to be able to allow him to assess what he needs to do and how he needs to do it. So there's a number of ways to fit piping. I'm just trying to get in there. I'm sorry about the noise, but obviously again, because it's on a main road at the top of the corner, that's always why it's always quite noisy. So what I'm going to try and do today is try and explain my interpretation of the best way to fit piping in, especially when it comes to block work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these, but I'm going to do it slightly different to the way everybody else does it. So what they normally do with these is, in the hole, they normally just fit them straight in there like that. So obviously then when you look down the back, then what you do then is you basically run just the piping at the back of that. I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to use a second one, and I'm going to put a second one that's going to sit, excuse me as I try to do this, I'm going to sit one so it sits down there like that. So I'm going to have two, because then that way I can then modify this in any way that I need to allow for the fiberglassing on this side. So once the fiberglassing goes in, it can be modified in any way. It's probably a little bit more expensive doing it this way, but I also know though, from a finished point of view, because bearing in mind there's a hole that's got to go that side, and if you blow it, which is really easy to do, then you ain't going to be able to hide it correctly, and it's going to look a bit naff. So we're going to end up fitting cement in there and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at sticking one in like that. Obviously there'll be a gap to allow for fiberglassing and everything else on there. So I'm going to do that today. So I'm going to play with that. I'm going to have a go drilling a hole down there, and the easiest way to do it with one of the core drills, hopefully without blowing the hole. So I'm going to try and do that today as well. I'm going to try and get some piping run down a very narrow hole. So some piping's got to go in there. So we'll sort that out. And then what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to assess the piping for the bottom drain. So I'm going to find out what I need to do there and how I need to do it. I'm on my own, so it's not very easy doing this video stuff. But I said to Jack I'd do it, so that's what I'm going to have a go doing today. Plus obviously I need to take advantage, make hay while the sun's shining, as it were, because it's a beautiful day. Garden is looking absolutely fantastic. I'll show you that at the moment. Garden's looking really good. Sun's out, looks absolutely fantastic. I'll get a few bits and pieces done, get all the bits together, show you what I'm going to do with the whole bit. But obviously on my own it's hard to drill and it's hard to film at the same time. So I'll show you bits and pieces. I'm going along and I'll try and do the best I can. I've ordered today some gold label sealer. So just to show you that, as you can see, we've got a rebate that goes all the way down within the blockwork, comes all the way around, and that fits in there. So the gap is 1210 and the drop is 910. Well, it's actually bigger than that, to be fair. It's probably I don't know, inch and a half, maybe a little bit more all the way around. So obviously bearing in mind you're going to have fiberglass that's going to go on there, so the fiberglass will go straight in, and then obviously the glazing will sit literally straight in there and hopefully give us, by the time you've got all the sealer in there and everything else, it should give us a decent fit. So it should be pretty good, that should, to be fair. And obviously we got that all the way around. So to be fair, so each block is 200i. So when you look at it, so you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, you've got 10, so that's 200. So it's a shade, bearing in mind the water's going to come to, give or take a little bit, it's going to come to about here. I don't really want to go much higher than that, to be fair. So it'll be fine, we can sort that out. And then what we'll do then is, I'm going to look at this block here, I'm going to put in a skimmer. So there'll be a skimmer going into here that's been ordered. So again, so I've ordered a skimmer, and I've ordered the gold label stuff. Got a really good discount on that as well. So massive thank you to Cotswold Koi for that. So yeah, really happy about that. So like I said, I'll do some bits and pieces, and then I'll get back to you in a bit. Right, so what I've just done is I've just cut a little piece off of tubing. The idea now is that is going to sit that side inside the blockwork, and that's going to sit the other side of the blockwork and have that sitting in the centre. Obviously it is only a temporary thing, but it just means then I can lock everything in so it looks tighter. Obviously I've got to get that bit off there as well, but to be fair, it's quite a fierce saw anyway, this is. So yeah, I'll have another look in a sec. So this is only a temporary thing, as I said. So what I've done is I've just put that little tiny piece in there. And what I'm going to try and do, I'll try and do it on film if I can, is make the modification on the bottom so that when it gets fitted in, should lock in place. So that's locked in place now, so that ain't going to go nowhere. Now obviously it's only a temporary thing, so it's only temporary, and the idea for that then is obviously when the fiberglasser comes, he can then identify how much space is needed for his fiberglass and everything else. We can then put some holes in, and then we can sit this flat against it using some of the sealer that we've got coming in as well. So that's the easiest way to do it, to set it up. So obviously everything is going to be pre-fitted, and then once everything's in place and I'm happy with it, I'm going to mark everything up using a paint marker pen instead of a permanent marker. So it's going to be highlighted in fluorescent green to make it really easy to use, and then I can work out then where all the joints are going to roughly look like. So bearing in mind I've got to come from that point there, and then I've got to come all the way down that corner, so I've got to come right down there, and then I've got to run all the way down the entire length of that. So as you can see, it's quite a lot to travel, to be fair. The guys put me a piping down the bottom, as you can see, so I'm going to run through that pipe as well, and then what I'll probably end up having to do is get some more 2-inch waste pipe. I'm not using pressure pipe on this job, by the way. I don't think there's any point in it, so I'm going to use just normal waste pipe that I'm going to run through. There's going to be, like I said, 2 returns. So, and that will go through a 20,000 variable pump by the time I'm finished. So by the time that's all lined up and it's all in and it's all in place, bearing in mind they're only returns, so there's not going to be, it's not going to be that much pressure. And obviously because it's not underground, if I get any issues I can actually deal with them straight away. Where personally, anything that's concreted in or anything that's blocked in that you can't get to, then me personally, it's going to be pressure pipe all day, every day. So we'll carry on doing some bits and pieces. I'll have a go doing this side now. If you give me 2 minutes, I'm going to get back and show you what I'm going to do with the core drill, and I'll show you my personal way to prevent the blocks from blowing. Again, like everything, you can't guarantee everything, but I'll show you how I do it. So give me 2 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the equipment I've got here. So this here is a 65mm hole cutting saw. So basically my intention is to obviously draw that out. So we're going to measure it, which should be just over 200. Yep, so that's 220. So what I'll be doing is I'll be marking that up at around 190, give or take a little bit. And the reason for that is because when we drill through down there, what I don't want to do is blow the hole the other end. So what I'm going to do is come in just so the drill is piping at the end, and then what I'm going to do then is turn it round and go in the opposite way. That way it's going to stop any blowing in any shape or form. I'm going to mark up the cutter using one of these, which is a standard paint marker. Let me turn that around so you can see it. So it's a standard paint marker. So these are used in most industries, so mainly from an engineering point of view. They're actually used to mark up when you're cutting through steel, so it's quite an easy thing to do. And because it's paint, obviously it's good wearing as well. So I'm going to set everything up. I'm also going to use my trusted Parkside. As you know, $29.99, best deal I've ever had on anything. So what we'll do then is we'll set everything up. I'll try and do a bit more videoing, and then I'll get back in a bit. So what I've done now is I've marked that up, look, as you can see. So you see it there with the green pen. So what will happen is, in theory, I'm going to come through just short, look, so you can see that it's going to, hopefully it's going to mark it out, and then once we've done that, then I can go through and do the rest of the bits and pieces. The other way to do it, which is even more simpler, is using a 10mm drill all the way through, so you've got a hole both sides, and then half and half, so come through at 2 angles. There is a possibility through the middle you might get a slight mismatch, but if you're going to use a 65mm core drill, and you're going to be using 2-inch pipe, which is just over 50, then you've got a 15mm float, so that'll give you the way to get around that. So we'll have a play, and we'll get back to you in a bit. So sorry about the sun. So what I want to do is, under here, I'm going to come down 1 block, and then what I want to do then is I'm going to put the core drill in through there to around this angle here. And the reason being is because when the water goes that way, then the pressure is actually behind the window, not in front of the window. So when the fish obviously are swimming up and down, I've not got them going crazy across the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and I'm going to use a standard drill. So like I said, there's 2 ways to do it. You can core drill through one side until the end comes out and then do it the opposite way after, or you can send an initial pilot hole all the way through, and then you can core drill both sides. That way the mismatch will be in the centre of the pipe. Again, because it's a 65mm core drill that I'm going to be using, it's getting me 15mm float in between. So because I'm on my own and I'm not very good with this camera anyway, I'm going to do it, and then I'll show you what it looks like after. So there you go. So that hole's been drilled out now, and you can see there's no blowouts on that at all. Obviously I'm going to tidy up the centre of the hole, as you can see, because obviously that's halfway through. And again, if you look the other side, you'll see that there's no blowout on that. There's probably a little bit at the bottom, but that's about all there is. So that's probably the easiest way to show you how to do that. So I hope that's made a little bit of sense. So I'm going to tidy that up now, and I'll get back to you in a bit. So as you can see now, that's the tack connector in place. It looks relatively tidy that side. Bearing in mind we've got overhang on both of them. Obviously because I want to make sure we've got the fiberglass in place as well. So looking at that side, that's in place as well. So I'm going to use obviously the tank connectors on both sides, and then what I'll be doing then is any pipe will literally run straight off those. So it'll keep everything nice and tidy, and it will be locked in. So I hope that's been of some benefits here. Obviously the next bits and pieces I'm going to be doing is going to be connecting all the piping up around the back, so I can get a good understanding of where I'm going to be setting that up. And what I'm going to do then is get a couple of ton of pea gravel. Once all the piping's in place, then I'm going to submerge it in pea gravel. So obviously that'll keep everything nice and stable. Plus if I need to make any changes to it, I can just pull the pea gravel out and I'll just do it that way. So yeah, see you on the next one. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm setting up all the external pipe work for the returns. Bit of a tip for this is always make sure you always do a dry fit first. Last thing you want to do is glue anything up and then realise you've got it in the wrong position. So let me show you what I'm doing and take you through what I'm doing. So this is only rough, and obviously there's bits and pieces got to be cut down to make it a bit more smarter later on. So as you can see, this is the initial piece. So located in this section here, there'll be a pump that'll come directly off the Bio Q800. So I'll go into a pump, into a 2-inch pressure pipe, into the feed, and then you'll have your first return. If you notice, the way that I've done it is I've done it so that it takes priority that way first, and that just sort of calms everything down. You can also see that I've used my paint marker pen to mark up all of my joins, and then obviously what I've done then is I've sent it all the way up there. So the simple reason why I've done that is so I can make sure everything's nice and tidy in advance. What I actually might do is literally take that one off and then send that straight in, because the hole, as you know, when I originally drilled it, was actually quite good. So what I'm going to do with that, what I'm also done is, just let me step inside so you can see what I've done. So obviously, if you remember, I did that bit as well. So stepping up the ladder, because it is quite high, as you can see, we've also got a mark on that one as well, and that comes round onto a mark on that one. That then comes up to the return into that side. What I'm also going to do as well is I'm going to stick a ball valve on the end of here. Obviously this is going to be a bit shorter. The reason why I'm going to put the ball valve on is I'm going to future-proof it. So in the event of me making any changes further down the line, I can actually hook it up, turn it on, and then I can carry on. So it might be another return I might want to put in. I might want to put in, I don't know, a backy shower or something like that. So that's the reason for that. So that just so that shows that bit of what I'm doing on that one. So yeah, it's coming on. It's not too bad at all. So probably the next project a little bit further down. Bearing in mind these are only in rough for now. I want the fiberglass in first so you can have a good look at it, so I can see what I'm up against before I start tightening everything up and securing everything into place. The next bit I'm going to do is going to be from the return there. So if you remember, that will come in through the bottom drain. So I'm going to put an elbow onto there, onto a T-piece, and then the project after that then will be to take them sleepers out, build a platform. So a platform will be around here somewhere, and that will be to sit the Bio cube on. So it's 810 by 810. So if you allocate all the piping on as well that's got to go onto it, it'll take it up to just over a metre. So what I want to do is I want to set up this pipe in such a way that even though it comes out a metre, I don't lose too much ground, because directly after that I want to put a pod in, so it'll all come in together, and that'll be further down the line. So what my idea against that is everything then will actually blend in. So obviously all these sleepers will come out, and then what I'll do here, I'll put in, I'm going to order about between 50 and 60 sleepers. So what I'll do, it sounds like a lot of sleepers, but to be fair, there's quite a few projects that are going on. So what I want to do is I want to come out a metre, then I want to run straight down, then a metre across, lock it back in, and I want to come up about 3.5 foot, but I want to literally stick them flat. That's the idea behind that one. This side then, I'm going to take these sleepers out of here, I'm going to turn all this over, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Daz and Rich to come over at some stage from All Seasons Landscaping, so they can put in the posts in preparation for the next project that's going to be coming on a little bit further down the line. I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm going to keep everything all updated. As you can see, it's coming on quite well, and I'm quite happy with what's going on so far, to be fair. So it's going to be exciting. So catch you on the next one. Well, good afternoon all. Obviously I've got a bit bored. Don't like staying in the house too much, to be fair, and I thought I'm going to test myself, see what I'm actually capable of doing. So what I've done today is, as you know, I've already done parts of the piping already. So what I've done, so I've sorted that piping out that's going to go there, and then what I've done then is for the biofilter, I've actually made a frame out of sleepers. So basically what will happen is that everything's got to be rerouted in such a way, but to put it into realistic context, I'm sorry it's a bit of a mess here, it is a bit of a building site. So if you can imagine you're coming into the greenhouse, it doesn't look out of place, so the bio box will actually fit there. So obviously you'll still have full view of the window. So obviously you've got the big ball valve, so that big ball valve will go into that pipe first. Obviously there'll be some block work and stuff that's there, and then I'll run a 1.5 metre pipe with a join on, and then I'll run that into 2 elbows so I can come out into the centre of this wood, because if you look at where that is now, running down the length of that, it's going to finish about there. So bearing in mind the cube is 810, when you include the piping it's going to be actually 900, and then what I've done then is I've added another 10 to it to allow for the piping to go around the back and feed down. So as you can see, like I said, I got to get out and do some bits and pieces, but it's just a quick update, and I'll catch you on the next one, so I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, good afternoon. Just a very quick update on what I've been doing today. I haven't really been doing much. All I've done is a bit of tidying up, which I need to do anyway, and I'm cutting out a hole for Skimmer using angle grinder. So for the job that I'm going to use is going to be trusted Parkside again. So Parkside system, absolutely fantastic. You can see it's already had some work previously. So what I'm actually going to do is where the window is, so where the window's located, I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to cut it out at 300, which is set at the recommended cutting out angle, and I'm going to cut it straight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit the skimmer in to see what it looks like, and then try it. Obviously, because I'm on my own and because of health and safety, I need to make sure that I need to be doing it with safety glasses and stuff, and I can't do that and hold the camera at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it out now, and then once that's done I'll come back to you. So I've cut it out, so I've actually gone in between 2 blocks. So the actual join of the block was there. So that gap there between the 2 now is 300. And I've come down to down the bottom. Obviously I'll tidy that little bit up later. But what I'm just going to do now, as you can see, it's literally by the side of the window. So ideally what I want it to do is sit about here. So if I can get it to sit about there, fantastic. And then obviously the water will go in from here. I didn't want an infinity window here. So obviously the window will come up to about here, realistically. Well, the window will come to the top, but I'm on about the water. The water will come to about there. So just bear with me a second. What I'll do is I'll get the skimmer and get it seated, try it for sight. Right, so there you go. That's now fitted in, and like I said, it's just a little bit, just got a little bit on the top. And bearing in mind, all this will be capped off. So this will all be capped off, so you won't see any of that at all. So yeah, it's coming together quite well now. So what I'm just going to do now, I'm going to do a little bit more tidying up, and then I'm going to cover this back over then, and then I think the next time that we have a conversation will be to, I'll get a bit more piping done, get that finished. I've got Jack coming over on Sunday, so he's going to bring some piping with him so we can finish off the returns using the 2-inch. Once we've got that done, then pipes will all be, they're all loose fit at the moment. None of it's going to be sealed at all yet. I want to make sure everything fits absolutely right before I carry on doing anything else. And then the fiberglass is coming on the 2nd of May, which is well on target, so that's absolutely brilliant. And then what I'm going to do is I'll aim to put a little bit of a barbecue on towards the end of May, get people down, have a bit something to eat. Prior to that we'll get the glazing in, use some of the CT1 or gold label, and get that sorted. So that will take us to the end of May, by which time then we'll have all the fiberglass will be done, which is really, really good. Then all the piping will be in place, and then quite simply then it'll be a case of let's start filling it up. So like I said, we're definitely on target. We're really doing well at the moment on this, so I'm really happy. And like I said in yesterday's, we're definitely well within budget. So catch you again later.